Now, I can make a case that, and I don't think I have to really dig too deep into numbers, or sometimes you just kind of back it up. Not that we can't back it up. We will if we have to. But sometimes you can just say something and trust that it will resonate with most people to the point where you don't have to dig too deep into the bag of tricks to back up the statement. And the statement is this. There is no murkier or muddled division in all the football going into the season where we don't know what the hell's going to happen. We have a pretty good sense of every division but the NFC East.
Yeah.
Now, I think that that's fun.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that that's good for football. But do you disagree with that assertion?
No.
Like, to me, the NFC East, nobody knows.
Nobody knows because we don't know what. I mean, we kind of know what the quarterback situations are going to be like Ryan Fitzpatrick for the defending champions of the division at 7-9, Washington football team. He can be great, but he also can be really bad at times. Daniel Jones for the New York Giants. This is his prove-it year. Now, I think he has the personality. I mean, BT, remember we had him in here the year before he was drafted. So his last year at Duke, he was in studio here. We didn't have him on air, but we met him in studio.
Yep, that summer. He was doing an internship where? Down somewhere on Wall Street, right?
No, he was doing it with one of the investors enthusiasts.
That's right.
One of my companies. And so we just hung out for a little bit. Great kid.
Terrific kid.
Could feel like, man, he's got like duck feathers. He doesn't feel any water on his back or hate or shade. He doesn't care, right? It's a lot like Eli. So, but this is a prove-it year. And at the end of the day, that's pressure. I think he's positioned himself to rise to the occasion. Just watching how he worked out this offseason, he got stronger. BT mentioned this the other day.
He did.
15 or so pounds of functional weight. He's taken command in a leadership capacity with the team. We saw that in the fight that happened a couple days ago, where he's just like, I'm not leaving my teammates out there. I'm getting right in the middle of it.
That's right.
He was actually on the bottom of it, which is not a good thing. But still,
we kind of like it.
Exactly.
As long as he's healthy, we love it.
But he's still got to do it, right? And as much as I believe that he will, there's no guarantee that he does.
Understood.
And so that's their question mark. You go to Dak Prescott night now with the Cowboys. I mean, is he even going to play in preseason? He's got a shoulder injury. They're taking a step back. It's probably okay. I know he had the ankle injury, and that's really what the most pressing concern was. But he looks healthy. He does have still a little gimp in his trot. You can see it if you're watching us on TV. It's hard to really make out, but if you
notice it, huh? Really? I didn't see it.
I absolutely notice it on his rollout. Huh. Like there's just a little bit of a hitch there. There's nothing to worry about. It's just him getting used to running on a reconstructed ankle.
So it's going to go away, is what you're saying.
Without a doubt, it'll go away. But he's just getting back in there. But it's the shoulder now. Yeah. And so it's like, all right, what is this? Like, should we be concerned? Is their defense fixed? There's just so many questions with every team. We just finished the whole first segment talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. So you have it's an opportunity for one of these teams to rise to the occasion, which I think that's why it makes it exciting, because some team could surprise everybody and just be completely put together in a way that we didn't expect. But we don't know which one of those teams it's going to be.
Well, you mentioned a few variables. I'll give you a few other variables that will also encapsulate the wackiness of the division. You mentioned Fitzpatrick. Yep. What about Heineke?
Yeah,
what if he? If
he beats him out.
Well, even if he doesn't beat him out, because I think Fitz is going to win the job. Yeah. But if Fitz stumbles, if Fitz goes down, if he gets hurt, I mean, if Heineke goes in there and flashes, there's an element of dynamic play that maybe Fitz won't provide at this age. So that's one thing to follow. We talk about Daniel Jones, and that's obviously very important. But what about the Giants' offensive line? A lot of my Giants fans, I was talking about the barbecue last weekend, a lot of my buddies who are Giants fans are like, I don't think we're going to be that good this year. And part of it was about Jones. They weren't sold, but they also complain about the O-line. I think the Giants' O-line quietly has gotten a little bit better. I'm not saying it's a top 5, top 10 strength, but it's functional. And if it's as functional as I think it could be, that's a positive variable, or quite possibly it's a negative variable.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Cowboys. We know about the offense, but the defense, which has been a train wreck, giving up 30-plus a week. What if Parsons is this transformative game wrecker? I mean, we haven't seen him play in 2 years at Penn State. Well, I mean, the night that he was drafted, everybody lauded the move, including us. What if he has an impact that we don't foresee? And then the other thing would be, and this is much lower on the list because they are the fourth best team on paper, what if Jalen Hurts truly proves to be a dynamic star, which I wouldn't put a ton of money on yet. But the other thing you have to factor in is I could make the case that right now There is only one coach in the entire division that I fully trust. I trust Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
I do like Joe Judge. Yes. I know you do too.
Absolutely.
I really like. I've said on the show, I think the Giants have found their coach for the next decade. Yeah. That's how much I believe in Joe, but not everybody's with me. I don't believe in McCarthy with Dallas. Matter of fact, I don't really like McCarthy with Dallas, and nobody knows who the hell Sirianni is.
That's right.
Or Sirianni. Sirianni.
No, we like Mike McCarthy as a play caller. But he hasn't been a play caller in a few years now.
I don't know if I'm feeling him as the head coach, the leader of Dallas. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right yet.
Yeah, I know. But that's why it's exciting, this division. And I mean, just to look at the Giants, again, only because that's my team here, they got 3 draft picks from last year on the offensive line starting right now, as long as Shane Lemieux is healthy, because he hurt his knee, I believe it was, but they don't think it's serious. I know he's out. He's on the shelf right now for a little while, but he's the nasty, like he's that nasty guard that Giants have always had. In my day, it was Richie Soyberg. Like, you got to have that guy who kind of anchors the attitude of the O-line. And, Nate Solder's back this year. So
you almost forget about that, too.
Right. And so while Andrew Thomas is slated, he's penciled in as the starter right now, they got some depth.
Yep.
If Nate is playing and Andrew Thomas or Matt Pert, who's on the other side, is another one of the draft picks. He was their third rounder last year. They put money into the offensive line, and offensive linemen, if they're going to make it, you start to see that progression in the second year, because they're not afraid of the speed anymore, the pace, or the physicality that they just weren't used to in college. And so the Giants' offensive line, which is the one weakness you look at, actually it should be better this year, to your point. So I agree with you. I think the Giants are in good position. They just got to go execute consistently. We know they can do it defensively because we saw it last year. It's just offensively, if they can get consistent, I mean, there's no reason that they can't win the division.
The only other division, and it would be a distant second for me, that could give you some unpredictable elements. Not that, there's probably more than one, but I would say maybe the AFC South. Because there's so much unknown about the Colts right now.
Yeah.
The Jaguars, who knows how they bust out of the chute with Urban. Urban, for those of you who missed this, is pretty interesting. You and I were talking about this off air. Urban Meyer is basically bringing something to the NFL that he did in college. Now, not to cut kids at Ohio State or Florida or Utah, but it's basically called the cut drill, where you accrue points.
Yeah.
And he announces, or his guy announces on the megaphone after a one-on-one positional drill, who won it, and they actually rotate the points.
They're tallying.
And that's how they're determining who's making the team in the spots where it's, up for grabs there. So I kind of like that, where it might be a little hokey for some, but at least it's tangible.
That's right.
It's not like contract-driven or projection. No, this is what happened.
It's meritocracy.
Yes, at its most literal sense. So I'm not saying the Jaguars are going to be really good. The Texans are a disaster. Forget about them. But it wouldn't surprise me even if the Tennessee Titans maybe took a little bit of a step back, lost Corey Davis. I know they've got weapons, and they're good. Yeah. But there could be some flippage in that division. Yeah, everything else, I think we could probably project pretty close.
They did add Julio Jones, but he's not practicing right now.
No, exactly.
So it's like the same that we saw in Atlanta for the last couple of years. He's just not that he's injury prone, but he's injury lingering. There's injuries always lingering around Julio Jones.
Yeah.
He didn't miss as many games as people think that he missed, but he
was always on the injury report.
Exactly.
Should I start him in fantasy?
That's right.
What's Julio? What's the 7 a.m. tweet from Schefter? Is he playing? Is he active? No, we were playing that game for a while.
Yeah, for 2 years.
It looks like we still will be.